I'm gonna review the cards I didn't get. So I'm gonna spend $50 on a 50 packs. I'm not a whale. I only spend $140, $240 a year. Listen, I ain't a whale. Um, all right, we got. Oh wait, I should sort by epics because we got all the rares and commons. All right, here we go. Krullusk Bark Stripper. It's bad. Um, you're running this in the beast deck. You don't want to run spells in that deck since you want to run only beasts to buff with your card that we didn't get, but we'll see later. Um, it's deadly shot, but you have to have another spell for it. What spells would you be playing with this? I don't know. It doesn't seem to work out for me. It's good with Overwhelm, but Overwhelm's not very good. Um, I don't think this card's very good. I think this is a 2-star card. Ancient Void Hound. Very powerful big demon for Demon Hunter. Um, does Big Demon Hunter get there, though? I don't think so. But it definitely increases in power level due to this card. Um, very, very good play on 7 with the 4 mana 4/4 that discounts the next demon you play by 2. Good if you get it out with the 9 mana card that gets your demons from your deck at the end of your turn. Just a big guy. But is just a big guy good enough? It is against some decks. Against aggressive decks, this kills, but against control decks, this is just another Shadow Word Pain. This is just another Execute. This is just another Polymorph. It's nothing. Educated Alec. Whenever a spell is played, this minion remembers a bit Death Rattle. Summon spells in your deck. Cool card. Just no point though. Why would you play this card? Um, it's uh good for fatigue, I guess, but your opponent's just gonna play a bunch of bad spells if they have them. If they don't, then you don't get any spells in your deck, which is the point of playing this card. It's a beast, which is not significant. Um, interesting card, but it's 1 star. It's a 5-star in my heart though. Secret Passage. The best card in this set, the second best card, minus Blessing of Authority. 1 mana, draw 5 for aggressive rogues if you have no cards in your hand. You do lose the cards, but if the cards are cheap enough, then you can play them all, and it's basically you've drawn 5. 1 mana, draw 5 is insane. So this probably makes Tempo Rogue, or Hyper Aggressive Rogue a thing. This and Voracious Reader. 5 stars. We did that one. Philosophy. Like what does this card do? Uh, you play this on 2 and play a 2/4 Voidwalker. Then you play another 2/4 Voidwalker later. I mean, that's alright. I mean, like, you have to outcast this, which can be pretty difficult. Especially actually in Warlock it's a lot easier to outcast stuff. Because in Zoo Warlock especially, you run out of cards all the time. And you top deck things with life tap. But for Demon Hunter, do you want to copy you want to lose a mana, which is very valuable in hyper-aggressive decks? I think these guys have better resource generation tools. 1 star. Combustion. This is a very good card. I think this is going to see play in every control-esque mage until the end of time. Shadow Bolt, if you deal any access, you deal it to adjacent minions, which you can remove 3 minions for one card. Um, very very good card. I'm gonna I'm gonna say this is a 5-star card, but I don't think it doesn't make an archetype, but I think it's just goes in mages forever. It's very very efficient. That's it. Transfer student. Not consistent enough. It has like half tempo effects, half value effects, and you don't want the tempo effects if you're a value deck, and you don't want the value deck. You don't want the value effects if you're a tempo deck. So I don't think it's good enough. But it'll see play because people like the card. I mean, it's a cool card. I like it too. Mind Render Illusia. This card will probably... See, Tempo Priest doesn't have any card draw. They Hall of Famed... whatever, 1 mana, 1/3. Draw a card whenever a minion is healed. I can't believe... Northshire Cleric. Can't believe I forgot Northshire Cleric. They Hall of Fame that. They changed Power Word Shield not to draw cards. They basically removed all of Priest card draw. And it's pretty cool that they replaced it with generated cards and cards from your opponent's hand. And this is a very cool card. I think for coolness, it gets a 5 stars. I don't know if it'll go in tempo, tempo priest, since they run a lot of buffs, and if your opponent has no minions on the board, then it's bad, and all that sort of thing. You steal the coin from them, which is funny. I think this card is very, very cool. I don't know if it sees play in control style priests because you don't want to trade cards with your opponent on a later turn. You want to do it on an earlier turn when you are just going to pass and you can waste some of their cards. But I don't know. I don't think it sees play in control. I think it sees play in tempo, and I think you just steal a bunch of their cards, and it's funny. Is it good? I think it's 4 stars. It's 5 stars in my heart. I think it's cool, but I think it's 4 stars because I don't think it gets there all the time. Sometimes you're in an aggressive mirror, and they also don't have any cards, and it's just useless. And sometimes you trade hands, and they just have nothing to play, and so I think it doesn't get there a lot of the time. But I think in the times when it does work, it'll be really cool, and that's all that really matters. Lord Barov. I don't like this card. It's equality on a stick. But is equality on a stick good enough? Probably. It'll probably see play in control style paladins. It'll definitely see play in warriors with all of their whirlwind style effects. I think this is much more powerful as a warrior card than a paladin card because the risky skippers. I mean, risky skipper into this is so good. It's insane. 4 mana, destroy all minions. It's so good in warrior. It's a 5-star card in warrior. In paladin, I don't like it. Activating the death rattle is not something either of these classes can do, except for like neutral Terran, maybe even like a Og Merchant, the one that gives rush, maybe. But in paladin, I can't see this card working. I mean, it sees play because you want to reduce their health to 1 because you have guys and you have consecration, and it's just 1 extra mana on equality, which is pretty good. But you can't activate the death rattle most of the time. You really don't want this to be delayed by a turn, since then they just trade it into your minions, and like the delay just doesn't work a lot of the time. I really don't like the design of this card, because obviously if you can activate the death rattle, it's cool, but these are not classes you can activate death rattles in. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars and 4 stars. 3 stars for. I'm gonna give it 2 stars for Paladin, 4 stars for Warrior. Forest Warden Omu. Spell burst. Refresh your mana crystals. Scary, especially with Survival of the Fittest. You play this. You play, say, the twin spell that summons a 3/2. You do that twice. Or no, you play a minion. You play a spell that summons a minion. You've got 3 minions on board, probably. You play Force of Nature, which gets you +4/+4 on all of them, which is really good, really high tempo, and buffs your deck in hand. Will you get to 10 mana crystals with all these tempo rogues about? I don't know. Will you? Will this be consistent enough to see a lot of play? I don't know. Is there a combo in here? I mean, you play it with Germination, then you have 20 mana if you time it out correctly. But with stuff like Mind Render about, do you have the consistency? You can't do it with Lore Keeper because you need to draw those cheap spells. So I don't think so. You can discount it with Satyr, Imprisoned Overs, whatever. Imprisoned the Satyr guy. Is that good enough? 19 mana on a turn. Play it with Germination and have 15 mana. Meh. I don't think it's a very good card. I think it's 2 stars. High Abbess Allura. This is high roll essential because you have to run cheap spells in order to activate the spell burst, but you sometimes get the cheap spells from the spell burst. Sometimes you summon an 8/8. Sometimes you add 2 1-drops to your hand. It's incredibly inconsistent. I don't think this card is going to feel good to play against. In Priest, this probably he's playing Tempo Priest where you run around a bunch of buffs. I almost like it better in Tempo Priest because they don't run like super cheap Libram stuff and super expensive Libram stuff. They just run consistent buffs. There's some Grave Rune stuff you can do, which is disgusting. But is that consistent enough? You can get this Blessing of Authority, which is stupid. But is it consistent enough? I don't know. I think it's 4 stars. I think it lacks the consistency to be 5-star, but I think on occasion it will win you games if it high rolls. Got that card. Professor Slate. Why was this card printed? Why? What? Why? I don't understand. I put it in my Face Hunter because you run the twin spell Rapid Fire. 1 mana, deal 1 damage. Twin spell. You can kill 2 minions for 5. That's pretty good. But is it that good? I don't know. Explosive Trap, but you just kill it if they have minions on board. This is a 1-star card. I don't know why this exists. Destructive Fireheart, 5-star card. Putting in every Shaman deck. If you play it on 3, you discover a spell. It's Volpera, a little bit worse than Volpera, but a little bit better because of the attack. Play it on 10, discover a cheap spell. Play it, discover another spell. You just have a 10 mana play now, and it gets you another spell at the end that you can play the turn after. So this card is very, very good. 5 stars. Goes in every Shaman deck. Might not go into Totem Shaman, but it still might. No, it can't discover 0 cost, so it probably doesn't. Um, it's very, very good. There's some weird stuff you can do with um, the card that discounts 2 mana, 2/3 when you discover a card, reduce its cost by 1, and you can, go off like a miracle rogue style, where you play, Storm's Wrath and you play Earth Shocks. There are a lot of 1 mana shaman spells, so I hope that that doesn't become a good deck, because that would be stupid. Um, but this card is just good. Sociologist. Nice pun. Sociologist. Uh, Malicia. Um, Good and you put it in Soul Fragment decks. Are Soul Fragment decks going to be good? Maybe. I hope the Demon Hunter one. I think I have more faith in the Demon Hunter one than the Warlock one. This is a good card. 4 stars. Will Soul Fragments be good? I don't know. I think it gets 3 stars because it's mixed with Warlock. I think it's 4 stars in Demon Hunter and 2 stars in Warlock. Keymaster Alabaster. So people freaked out about this card when it came out. But when you think about it, it adds a 1 cost. Most of the time, it's a 7 mana 6/8 that adds a copy of a card in your opponent's deck that costs 1. A lot of the time, that's going to whiff. And also, this card doesn't really do anything. Like, you want to advance your game plan in the Hearthstone. You want to do cool things, and this does not. This just gets you a 1 cost random card from your opponent's hand. No more Cold Lights, no more Naturalize. It doesn't. I don't think this will see any play anywhere. It's not a bad card. It's just not a good card. So I think it's 2 stars. Oops. Jandis Barov. So this is a good card. However, these 2 classes have very specific aggressive decks. You have one that cares about spells in Mage, and in Rogue, you want weapons, you want cheap spells, so you can play the Secret Passage. This card doesn't fit into either of those. Probably goes into Highlander Mage, since it's just a cool card, and it's legendary, and legendaries go into Highlander decks. It's very cool. It's a very cool design. There are a lot of very cool designs in this set, but does it? I don't see it fitting anywhere. Does it go in the super aggressive rogue? People will probably put it in there because they want to play this card, but does it fit? I don't think so. Do people play it in spell damage tempo rogue in tempo mage? I don't think so. It doesn't have anything to do with spells, and that's your game plan, that deck. So I think it's a 4-star card, but I think because of it's in these 2 classes that don't care about just stats on the board. I think it's a 3-star card. Turallion, the Tentured. So when this card first came out, it looked real bad. However, now that we see the dual Paladin support that has been printed, this card looks a lot better. When this card came out, people were like, "Oh, it's like it's a lot like the Natalie Celine, but worse." But when you can cheat it out, you can't cheat out Natalie Celine. You can cheat this out. I think it's very good with duel. Obviously, you kill the guy, and because it is rush, you can kill another guy. 5 mana to kill 2 guys. Summon a 3/6 that kills more guys. Very, very good on that front. Although a lot of the time against tempo decks, their stats are going to be less than 3/3. So it could be a downside that it sets the attack and health to 3/3. So it's not really killing a guy. Sometimes it buffs a guy and kills a guy. Although if a guy has less than 3/3, you just don't attack into it, and it's not a threat. Very interesting. I think it only goes into dual Paladin. Is dual paladin gonna be good? Maybe. I think it's a 3-star card. Rast Frost Whisper. It's Despicable Dreadlord that can go face and is improved by spell damage, and has better stats, because you care about health more in a repeatable this turn. Yeah, it's just a good card. I think it's 5 stars. You just put it in control decks. You put it in Highlander Mage. You put it in spell damage Mage. You put it in spell damage Shaman, which isn't good, but I think because it goes in so many decks, because it's so powerful in those decks, I think it's 5 stars. It's just like you play it with 6. You play it with the 1/3 in Mage, 1/3 spell damage +1, and it's like a consecration every turn, which is very, very powerful. Vectus. So, people were excited about this card. I was excited about this card when it came out. But they didn't print any death rattles. They forgot. So, it's weird because, I was thinking, well, maybe you duel out some death rattles, but then you'd have to put Vectus, and then you could duel with Vectus, and that's not very good. You can't put it in the warrior deck either, because that can low roll Vectus as well. There aren't no death rattle. I mean, maybe Rogue still has the card that was nerfed. 5 mana, 2/5 combo, draw death rattle card from your deck, gain its death rattle. Maybe you play that with the 8 mana 8/8 that summons a 7 cost minion, maybe, and then you play Vectus. Does that work? If it gains the death rattle, I don't think it works. Huh. Well, yeah. If there were better death rattles, this card would be good. But actually, this card is just Twilight's Call. The 3 mana card that summons 1/1 copies of your death rattle minions that died this game. That's real bad. I mean, maybe you put this in Death Rattle Punter, but it's not that good. Summons 4/4s. This is a 2-star card. I don't think this card is good. Actually, this is 1 star. I'm rating this 1 star. Sphere of Sapience. Scry in Hearthstone. Well, there are a good amount of combo decks that are possible in the Exodia Mages of the world, or Druid, or thingy. What is it? Warlock. Quest Warlock with Malagos. Probably goes in those decks. That's cool art, though. I want to see that in golden. I think it's 2 stars. I don't think it's good. Like, it goes in combo decks, but, you'd rather probably just run card draw. Is it 2 stars? I'll give it 2.5 stars. I love that card. Star Student Stelina. Very disruption effect here. The problem with this card is not tempo, which is the primary Demon Hunter type nowadays. Maybe this goes mid-range. I put in mid-range. Mid-range Demon Hunter. I mean, but does it do enough? I mean, you're putting, you're looking at your opponent's hand. Is the information enough? Is the disruption enough? Is it enough to run a 4-mana 4/3? I think the stats on this are poor enough to that you might consider not running it, just because it's so low tempo. It's just like almost a value card. I think this is a 3-star card. It's not very good, but I think it could see a good amount of play. Archwitch Willow. We don't have any big demons, so I don't know why this card is here 1 star. Ace Hunter Kreen. Your other characters are immune while attacking. Well, if there's a lot of Zoo Warlock about, or a lot of taunts, this card is great. However, there are not. I think your main contender, if you're in an aggro deck, your main contender is the Stealth Rogues, which is not good with this card. Or, like, they have the weapon equipped, and it doesn't matter. I don't know about this card. I'm not so sure. This card's very hard to evaluate because it depends on the meta. It's a tech card against Zoo decks. It's good against Tempo Priest, but is Tempo Priest good enough to tech against? I don't know. I'll give it 3 stars. It's a tech card. Disciplinarian Gandling. So this does 2 different things in the 2 classes. In Warlock, you play lackeys, you play 1/1s, you play... In the reveal stream, they played Wisp for 4/4s. Is that good enough in Warlock? I don't think Zoo Warlock works right now. I don't think they printed enough buffs. I don't think just a bunch of 4/4s is good enough, as we've seen with Takan. I don't know about this card. I don't think you're even gonna have enough cards in your hand to make this good. I guess you could play. I guess the place where this is you whiff in the Hand of Gul'dan, Imprisoned Scrap Imp deck. If you whiff on the Scrap Imp, you can play this and make all your 1/1s or whatever they run in that deck. I hate that deck, so I never played it, even though I love Zoo Warlock. And then if you whiff on those guys, but I mean, you're more likely to whiff on the Hand of Gul'dan. So, this doesn't make sense for me in Warlock. And in Priest, it's synergy with Death Rattles. You play it with Mind Flayer cards. You play it with the guy who adds a lackey to your hand. 2 mana 2/2 Death Rattle, add a random lackey to your hand. And then you play the lackey, which is pretty good combo. But like 7 mana to do that, is it too low tempo? Do you tempo play this? Depends. I think in both Priest and Warlock, it's around the same power level because Warlock doesn't have a ton of like egg stuff happening because of no Grim Rally. In Priest, they don't have a ton of Death Rattle stuff happening. I don't see this card working out. 3 stars. I think it definitely has potential though. If this was printed back before rotation, before the Witchwood, or even back before Witchwood rotation, or Rastakon's rotation with Scarabeg and Grim Rally, this card would be a lot better. But it's not. So I think it's 3 stars. Infiltrator Lillian. A very aggressive card. A lot of the time it goes face. I think it's good. Just generally good in the aggressive Secret Passage, Rogue, the super aggressive weapon-based, stealth-based. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have to decide between running the stealth package or running the weapon package. I wonder what I would choose. I think the stealth package is better. I think it's got more tools if you had to choose, but I don't think you have to choose. I think you can run a combination. I think this is a good card. I think 4 mana 4/2 stealth is just good, and then you deal 4 to a random enemy, and if it goes face, you summon a 4/2. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think this is a 5-star card. I think this sees a lot of play. Hidden Master Kel'Thuzad. I think this card is good in Priest. Um, I think it's good with Coerce, the new card. So we might see playing Warrior. I don't think Rogue will ever run this. Um, it's good Priest with stuff like Shadow Word Ruin, Shadow Word Death, even Shadow Word Pain, even the Penance. Um, you could run Warlock, Hellfire. It could be run in a lot of decks, but will it be run in a lot of decks? I think it only goes really in Priest. I think that's where it's most powerful, because they have a lot of hard removal. Um, but it definitely has potential to go in a lot of other decks. Um, at the power level of this card, it requires a lot of. It requires you to have a removal spell, and also requires the opponent to have a minion that your removal spell removes. It's a lot of ifs in this card. I think this is a 3-star card. Rattlegore. So this is big warrior support. It also could just be a control card. You just play this and beat them down because they can't remove it. Although, it can't really be your win condition because you can always get silenced or polymorphed or hexed or what have you. Um, I don't think Big Warrior works because it doesn't have the duel. Um, it works. I mean, I don't think even Dual Paladin works, but I think Big Warrior definitely doesn't work. I don't know where this card would see play other than that. Maybe if Big Warrior sees more print in the future in the next expansion, but I don't see this card working. Um, Although Warrior does have a lot more control tools that they haven't been using. So this card, it has a small amount of potential. I think it's 2 stars. Shendo Wildclaw. This is the card I've been raving about. I like this card too. Kaliseth for beasts or Faceless Manipulator for beasts. It's a very strong pull to beast decks. Does this play in Guardian Animals, Druid? I don't know. I think so. I think it's good enough. Because transforming into a friendly beast that's been buffed or that's been, you know, I guess it hasn't been buffed. I think this. I think people put this in that deck, but I don't think it's good in that deck. And in Beast, I mean, in Hunter, do you run an all Beast deck just to play Kaliseth? Is that a harder condition than no 2-drops? I don't think so. Or I think so. I think Beast having an all Beast deck is harder than running no 2-drops. I think this card has a lot of potential, but I don't think Beast decks are good enough right now. I don't think there are enough good Beasts. Although there have been quite a few printed, I don't think there are enough. So I think this card is 3 stars. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Hopefully you didn't hear any of that background sound. Goodbye.